Alright, we're going to be watching Blitzeon, who's going to be playing Mercy, Kiriko, and Anna. This is GM5 on PC. This is what they said. Feel boosted by the Mercy Sojourn meta. Hi, I'm currently a Grandmaster 5 support that feels kind of boosted by the whole Sojourn Mercy meta in Season 2. I played a lot of Mercy because she was really strong in Season 2, but I am an Anna Kiriko main. I was a Genji main in Overwatch 1, but I also played a lot of Anna and some Mercy. I was a diamond in deep. I was diamond in DPS and support by the time I stopped playing Overwatch 1. Coming back into Overwatch 2. Sorry, I'm still sick. Took a decent break from Overwatch 1 around the time Echo was released and came back to Overwatch 2 and played Silver and support. In the first season, I climbed from Silver all the way to Master, but I feel like I'm missing a lot of game sense, such as proper decision making, as well as understanding what to do to maximize my uptime and support, as well as to try to be more active in the game, unless I'm just cruising by for the win. I feel like my positioning isn't the greatest and would just want any tips on how I can be more involved in team fights, as well as balancing risk versus reward when it comes to making aggressive plays versus supports. Sorry. So, for starters, I would say that I think you're very much underselling yourself. I mean, it's not a coincidence that you've gotten the GM5. I presume you played a lot of games. Unless you're dual queued or party queued with other people, I would assume that you have earned this. It is possible that you're riding the meta to some extent, and that Mercy may end up being your best hero. I mean, may not be your best, most skilled hero, but the best hero for the meta, which has allowed you to climb maybe past where you could play for Kiriko and Anna. That is very possible, but I do think that your Mercy play is probably pretty good. So this is GM5 and on PC, so I'm expecting pretty close to perfection here. So I will take the opportunity to note just about anything that I see, and I'll probably have to go back and analyze macro fights as well. All right, let's go. So for starters, definitely be damage boosting Junkrat here over Sojourn. I would also consider damage boosting your Rhine for the initial fire strikes, but Sojourn has no ability to get a pick right now, but Junkrat for sure does. Yeah, so yeah, you're definitely aware of this because you're like thinking about it and you're like checking to see if she gets energy. I think that's the right call. Right, she's gone. We follow her back, which I think is okay. I would say that I don't think you knew what the lineup was. I don't know if you knew for sure there wasn't a sniper, and it doesn't appear that you checked at all. And I don't think after this long, the heroes. Sorry, I'm dying here. I don't think after only 10 seconds the enemy heroes would have been revealed. You might have heard enough sounds to be able to tell who they were, but the only reason I mention this is that this fly up here you didn't check at all. So it's entirely possible that you would have gotten like headshot by a widow. Just noting that. I also don't know that I really want to play with Sojourn here. I think I still want to play with Junk. I mean, I'm not a GM Mercy player by any means, but intuitively, my opinion here is I'm still probably playing Rhine, right, to damage boost that, or the Sojourn, right? The Rhine is consistently going to be putting damage down. He's going to be hitting the Rhine with hammers and then hitting with fire strikes, and the Junk has chances to actually kill people. So the Soldier right now, until they come into the choke, has very little chance that she's going to kill anybody. Yeah, so your Soldier's done basically nothing, right? So let's actually play this out, and then from the other perspective, right? So she's clearly not getting any hits. I mean, it's not her fault. Like, there's literally nothing to do right now, right? Still not getting any hits. Okay, let's watch the Rhine's perspective. From when Soldier jumps up. Right, spam. So she goes up. So fly. That should have been a hit. That's actually hit, hit, hit. Fire strike. That's a double fire strike. Right. So that's 3 hits and a double fire strike. So that's 200 plus 85 times 3, 255. 355 damage that the Rhine did. That's clearly way more than the Soldier did, right? There's not, it's not even close. And the Rhine actually messed up the first fire strike. It really should have been 455. So looking at the Junkrat from when the Soldier jumps up. So right now, yeah, he hits nothing. Got maybe one body shot there. Get a couple splashes. That's it. Yeah, I think the right call here would have been to keep damage boosting the Rhine. There's just nothing the Soldier can do yet until they come into the choke. I think you should have definitely played the Rhine. The Rhine literally did like 4 times as much damage as the Soldier did easily. Like, you understand, in a Rhine mirror, the Rhines are gonna be hitting each other a lot at this corner. Like, it's gonna constantly have damage being cranked out. And of course, like that's not gonna lead to picks, but it is gonna farm ulti and help your Ryan win like the straight up tank match, which will keep them back. And then you can look back for your Sojourn when they start pushing in, / when she's charged. When she's charged, I think it's perfectly fair to come back to her, even if she's like holding it and looking for an opportunity. That's fine. But if she doesn't have charge, or like you hear her fire real, right? Then just go back to the line. What is this movement? I don't really understand. Oh, the Cassidy's there, that's why. This is another great example where I think damage boosting the Junkrat here probably is your best choice. Shatter goes off. I would. Oh wait, did Shatter hit nothing? Oh, he didn't hit the Ryan. That's what happened. Yeah, correct call. The damage boost Sojourn here. They can only get 2 out of it. Very unfortunate. He traded Shatter for one soft team fight. No resources from their team. Just 15 seconds basically. Unfortunate. Gutsy res. I like it though. I think it's worth, and you could tell. Oh, that was perilously close to your head. Yeah. I think it's worth. At GM1 that probably doesn't work, but at GM5 even I think that's a fair risk to take. You would have felt really silly if you died there though. So, I felt this is pretty obvious that the Ryan's coming from Shatter. You know, your Ryan already shattered, and they've been fighting for quite a while after. So, if you imagine the Ryans have shatters at the same time, like that's the easiest time to track shatters is in the mirror matchup, because you can just look at your own Ryan shatter or percentage to see how up they are. Especially for Ryans, where it's almost impossible to get hits on the enemy Ryan without them also getting hits back. So you should have already been playing the corner here and getting ready. Like, there's no reason to be playing this far away from the doorway. This is just sloppy. There's no, and like then you step out here for no reason. You could have just played here and been ready to heal your Sojourn. That's a really bad shatter. All right, so now you're in a weird position. You pop Valk to try to turn this. Tough situation. You're like looking for the. All right, ran into some technical issues. This is the second part of the video. So you just Valked. Keep it alive. This is all fine. Looking for the res. I think you could have gone for this. I mean, ideally, like game sense wise, your Ryan would realize that he has a shield right now. So I think this is worth risking for it, especially if you can get this angle right here, which guarantees that even the Ryan lowers the shield, the Widow can't get you, and only the Kiriko is a threat. I think that this is like winning a 4 and 5 is going to be really, really hard. I think you should go for that res. Your Ana was very extended there, and you miss her with the clicks. See, like you just kind of have bad movement there. So you should have been healing the Ryan initially because it was the lead. Right here, you could have switched right away, but if not, you should have shifted to the left or to the right to get an angle to the Ana. Right now, you could have clicked high to the right to make sure you heal the Ana, but you're just a little bit slow. It doesn't cost you this time, but just a micro problem. So I don't think you realistically could have saved your Junkrat here. He gets blown up basically from. I mean, guess right now you could have been healing him, but no, he gets blown up pretty quickly. I think at this point, I heal the Ana, fly through, and then res. Again, like there's no chance you're winning a 3-on-5, so you might as well risk the res. Right, this is way too slow. You heal the Ana just enough to give her like 100-ish health while you fly in and immediately start the res. There's just no way. Like this res at this point is pointless. There's no chance to actually fight. Right? Like what are you doing now? You just fed your Junkrat away. And then you die anyway. So I think just being taking a little more risks when you're down. I think that's very important at higher levels of play. Is just like, hey look, if things are looking pretty dire, I can play very differently. Like instead of playing like safe, regular, I can be much more aggressive at the plays I go for. That res, the first res and also the second res. Will's there. Don't want to mess with that. You know, we're just kind of killing time. Yeah, it's not your job to take care of the off angle. So you're like reasonably safe up here, but also if she manages to come out wide, you don't have vision on her because you're only looking like down, if that makes sense. It's like really hard for you to see her and the enemy team. I think I personally would have preferred to tuck in here versus playing up top, but it's not the worst idea to go up top. I think it's just a difference of style and, you know, what disadvantage would you prefer. I prefer to be able to see the Widow. Let's get res. Oh, that was a dangerous float. Yeah, you get over just enough for her, but that's fine. Widow's flanked your back line, nothing you can do about this. Yeah, your team's just doing a really bad job of off-angle control. They'll try to stay alive, just die.
I'll find my own.
Nothing, as Mercy, there's nothing you can do in this situation. I would say, rewinding this back a little bit, I think that you're not really getting enough value out of Mercy in this situation, right? It's like you got the res, which is pretty good. Obviously that helps negate one, but like as you know, if you're playing Kiriko or Baptiste or somebody like or Zen, there's a lot more that you can do in the situation. I think you just need to, I don't know, like your soldier needs to be doing more work here. After this res, I think you should have gotten in here quicker to damage boost the soldier. Yeah, because if you got her a little earlier, maybe she can kill the Rhine. And then, yeah, it's tricky. I don't know that it actually would have made a difference. My intuition there is that you just need to do a little more. So you switch off. Interesting to play Winston here. It's all pretty regular. Yeah, this is really your Winston's fault. Like, you theoretically could have saved him by throwing the Suzu against the cart or the shield, but he dies so fast here, it's like pretty tough. Like, I don't think I would have been able to do any differently in that situation. And the most important thing is not to stagger. Either die or get out. Oh, this is a good choice. I think that was too risky. Ooh, it's bad to hit that fire strike. Gotta hear it too. So this is tough because your Winston is savable here. And like realistically, your Tracer's not actually any threat of dying. Like you can see your Ana right there. On the other hand, your Winston is nanoed, so I also would not expect him to die instantly either. This is tough. So with the benefit of replay, right? In retrospect, it is the correct call here to actually ignore the Tracer, come forward, and help your monkey out. But with a nanoed, nearly full health monkey going in, there's no reason to expect that your monkey would get obliterated as fast as he does here. So it's tough. Like, is there a better play you could have done? Yes. Could you have known that at the time? Not necessarily. And that's thus I'm being pretty hesitant about what the actual value would, whether or not that makes any sense. This is also the problem with playing Winston on this map, is that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to play Winston on Final Point King's Row. It's just very silly. So your Tracer's critical right here. You can see, first of all, you're not prioritizing trying to heal her. You know, it's like you're just healing, but you're not trying to heal her, right? You start throwing this healing. As soon as this happens, you should have stopped healing immediately and gone to the right side and finished the heal. When you see that fire strike / heard it, you should have. You don't have Suzu. Yeah. That's another tough one where it's like, I think that one feels more so your fault, but even then, I think it's tough for you to have executed that differently. I think the big thing is like you're playing really far up here, and you're not maintaining LOS of the soldier, right? It makes more sense to play right side of cart than left side of cart, because again, if anything happens to the people on the right side of the cart, you're slow to react. Wait, did I go the wrong way? Just go down here. Yeah, I mean it's tough, very marginal. If it's an error, it's marginal for sure. Yep, kill. I don't think you give up high ground. But they have a Widow. It's tricky. I think, based on what's kind of going on here, is that usually people are dying because they're getting picked. Does that make sense? Like, it's not more healing is not actually helping your team. It's just timeliness of healing and space control. So if you can stay up here and force the Widow to just like kind of hard scope, you know, like I'm not saying like peek her, like you could even just like sit right here and then like jump occasionally and see whether or not she's actually, you know, do a sideways jump or jiggle peek to see whether or not she's still there. And that itself can deny space from the Widow, because then it's very hard for her to go anywhere that can actually come after you, right? She either has to climb up and take that close range fight, or she goes to this window where, you know, you can jiggle peek and drop or something. It's something to think about. I don't think it's a wrong call to give it up, but I think it's definitely something that I would think about how good I felt, like in terms of my movement and accuracy, to be able to challenge that. Because again, more healing, it doesn't seem like it's actually helping you to win this fight, or this game so far. Okay, Winston's in. I would be thinking about Shatter right now, because it's been quite a while since Shatter. I don't know about this rush. I think you popped this way too far forwards. Nobody wants to get close to the Rhine, right, because of Shatter, and your Winston's not going to benefit because he's around the corner. I think this is a really bad Shatter, or Kitsune rush. And then, after Kitsune's pop, then you go way too far back, right? Like, now your Winston's in already, you gotta go in. Like, if you get solo shattered, so be it. Just make sure you don't get shattered by anybody else. And you have Suzu to potentially try to cleanse it really quick. Shatter's coming. I can already tell when the Rhine's walking forwards, when his shield is low, Shatter's coming. Like, I can feel instinctively as a tank player. Like, I know, like, you know, I called it before I saw it. Shatter's coming. Right? Great reactive Suzu. Yeah, I think with the Fire Strike buff, it's, like, really hard to keep your soldier alive here. It really should have been Anna saving the soldier in this situation. Well, she's dueling the Widow. Yeah, she's just a little too slow. She should have scoped it. Really unfortunate, and of course your Winston dies way up there. And then it's not much you can do. So my overall assessment of your defense is it honestly doesn't feel that bad. Right? I mean, I don't think it was bad to begin with, but my overall take here is it feels like for once I would say a lot of things happened that were outside your control, or like unfortunate things happened to your team. And, like, theoretically, you could have prevented them, but realistically, I don't know that you could have. It does feel like you aren't able to make the impactful plays that will change the game, partially because the heroes you're running and what your tank is kind of, like, doing. Your tank feels like they're kind of throwing. They're not doing a good job peeling off the Rhine, and they're not doing a good job staying alive and diving the back line. So you're kind of in a tough situation there. I think overall, this play still feels over 50% win rate. Right, it feels like if based on this round alone, like yes, you technically lost it, but this still feels like a 52 to 55% win rate play. I think overall it felt pretty clean overall, especially the, like some plays you made, like the Suzu save on Shatter was excellent.
Do not start the mission yet.
Sorry. Ready for battle.
For the record, one thing I would also point out here, as other alternatives, I don't think you said that you could play, but I think Zen is very reasonable here. To add additional pressure to the Widow and pressure to the Rhine to prevent him from just walking forwards freely. And then you have more capacity to save people with trance as well. Against this lineup, I mean, obviously there's still purple to worry about, but you could pressure out the Widow, you can pressure the Rhine, you can trance Visor. Gives you some options, and it gives you more agency over the way the game plays out.
Understood.
Alright. So you're running Hanzo, Tracer. This does not feel like the time to run Mercy. I think, especially knowing they run Rhine, I think running Ana here makes more sense. I think running Zen here would be fantastic. In fact, Zen would be your best possible hero right now with your ball, right? Because you're running dive here. If you think about it, you're running ball plus Tracer is dive. So I think Mercy here is not that great. And I think, again, as you climb up, I think having the picks right makes a much bigger difference. It's winnable, right, for sure, as virtually any hero if you play it well enough, but it's going to make your life harder. You know, because often Hanzo's like, he either kills them with a headshot or he body shots them. And if he body shots them, your damage boost isn't going to kill him anyway. So it's still going to be a second arrow. Not much you could do here other than jiggle peek the left side. You should recognize that left side was was vulnerable instead of just blindly go, especially if you heard the Sonic go off. So that right there, you should have heard the single arrow and realized that nobody else is alive. The Tracer's already dead, right? The ball's in the back line, that arrow was clearly coming towards us. So from a game sense awareness, you could have recognized that the Sonic had gone off and then been very careful going around that corner. Looks like you thought about switching. Yeah, damage using Tracer is not good value far away. Not that you have any other options. Like, this is a scenario where it feels like you're getting very little value out of Mercy. Ball's in. Tracer's dead. So you traded right now. Oh, no reason to hit this Fire Strike. This is tunnel visioning. You're looking at I can tell, you're looking at the Tracer's body, thinking about it, and you eat this Fire Strike, which is really big. Like, that was a reasonable res. I think it was a little risky, but I'll take it. You didn't have to take a risk there because it's 4-on-4 and you have close spawn, by the way. Versus on defense, you're much more necessary to take that risk to try to hold the point. You can't help the ball. Don't worry about it. If ball needs help, he'll come to you. Like, don't fly across the point or like waste too much time like looking at the ball. Ana here would also be valuable, by the way, just really shutting down the Rhine. Plus, yeah, purple's always helpful for ball slams and such. You pop Valk here. I think this is okay. The problem is their team is not really committed, right? So you're damage using right now, but they're pretty far away. So you really need the team to get further in. Like right now would have been a much better time to pop Valk. And you've already wasted half of your Valk. Nothing you can do about this. Playing Mercy here, I think you just have a general lack of agency as to what you can do to influence the game. Alright, you switch to Ana. Careful that peek. I'm always very careful going around that bus. I would always jiggle peek it first to confirm that the spam's not coming towards me. Okay, so Dragon gets popped here. By the way, your sensitivity feels so high. So I think you throw this grenade, like kind of like, oh, maybe my Rhine needs it. But like you're not shooting him anyway, so the amount of healing from the grenade is not very high. I think I try to save Nate there. I think I just fire the dart and then come back and try to figure out what the situation is. Good job keeping the Kiriko alive. Bad job keeping the Junkrat alive. Right? She only need these 2 darts. 1, 2, then stop, and then look. Right, that 3rd dart would have saved your Junkrat. I don't think there's anything you could really done by that. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty rough. It happens. Your team, again, lost off angle control. Honestly, it feels like your DPS who's dying constantly is also a problem on your team. Like, this stuff will average out, you know? So, nano timing's not right. You want to get him when he's, like, actually in there. Like, you're popping this where it's like, hey, go ahead and go. But if the Ryan's not going, like, he's going to know that you have nano, right? This is Masters. They're not going to... He's not going to be, like, brain dead and be like, oh, I'm going to wait for the nano for me to go in. If I'm playing Ryan, I don't want to get nanoed first. I want to be in position where I'm, like, already about to do a ton of damage and then get the nano. That way it's nice and surprising. So, popping it right here, like, you see immediately... Oh, man, you also went Lucio and boop the Ryan back. Also, this turret on the side has not been dealt with. So 2 reasons why you should not have popped nano here, right? I think take the opportunity right now to shoot the turret, kill it, then pop nano if your Ryan's getting into it. They're already clearly not that interested in fighting, you know? The Ryan is like already kind of like playing only in the halfway zone. He's not like walking up trying to fight your Ryan. So let's look at how much value your Ryan actually gets out of this ultimate. Right? You see the Ryan's clearly like, wait, what the heck? And now he's gonna walk forwards. He's worried about this. So he gets two hits and a shatter. Sorry, 2 hits and a fire strike out of it, which is not great. Good shatter though. I think he would have had it. I guess nano does help him get shatter a little faster. We'll say that. But I think I stand by that. I don't think that was the right nano timing. I think you should kill the turn first, at least before doing anything. Right? I would have wanted my Ryan to walk on point and force their Ryan to come fight him, and that's when I would have nanoed. Alright, you're gonna have a fun time sitting on cart. Still sitting on cart. Still sitting on cart. Alright, you traded DPS, I think. Yours will be back sooner. Yeah, I would say definitely your job to stay on the card here. Your Lucius go back to taxi. I think that's what causes you to mess this up. I would have confirmed, and you're like, oh shoot. That's a considerable amount of distance that you just lost. Because again, you want to rush their Ryan to have to come forward before his whole team is ready. If you had been moving the cart the whole time, the cart would be here, and you would have better cover, and they would have been forced to fight long before the Pharah got there. Still 5-on-4. I would watch out for Shatter here. Very cognizant for Shatter. So it's a good purple, but like the timing of it doesn't feel quite right. Like I don't think that my Ryan can get this kill here because your Ryan's also very, very low. So I would have waited a little longer. I don't think you fire that sleep dart. You're pretty sure you're gonna need this. That's a wild nade. That does not feel like the time for the nade. Like, be a little more patient, you know? Like, you managed to hit them with it, but you're not going to get any kills out of it, so who cares? Do you even hit this Junkrat? Maybe. Yeah, I think he would have died anyway, but... So, you see your Lucio dueling the Hanzo right here? You know? You should be healing. You have 6 shots right now. I think you're like worried that you're gonna get shot, but the Hanzo's clearly looking at the Lucio. So I would stay out here until the Hanzo looks at me. And I think that applies to like the general thing that I think you're just a little too defensive, a little too passive, or conservative rather, in your decision making, right? I think that the wisest thing is, yes, the Hanzo could look at me at any moment, let me step inside to not die. But I think the min-maxer, which you have to be to keep climbing, is, hey, the Hanzo's not looking at me, he's clearly shooting to hit the Lucio. Why don't I try to heal Lucio so we both win? I do not think I took this good. You're around the corner completely, right? And Lucio's here, he's already the healer. You would have been max health in like 3-4 seconds. And you're still waiting for one, right? Yeah, you're still waiting for your soldier. So there's no reason to pop nade there. I would be very careful going around this corner, right? I would assume this corner is sonicked. So I would jiggle peek this, because you already died to Hanzo multiple times like this, right? I would jiggle peek this versus just straight running this. In fact, how close is this? Oh my god. What, was that arrow at you? No arrows at the Rhine. But you see, if the arrow had been fired at the corner, you would have died. So just recognizing that. Ooh. Okay, you miss it, but timely beat. So I actually want to analyze the nano timing. I think the nano timing here is a little better because your Rhine's face to face. Ideally, though, again, you want to synergize with sorry, with grenade if at all possible, right? Like a nano plus grenade is like fight winning. You throw the grenade, it doesn't land, which again I think they're just forcing grenades out too early, and then after that you just pop nano. But like the Rhine's like once again he's like, wait, does he really want to fight this? You know, he knows that the other Rhine has shatter, so nano right now is like kind of a tricky proposition because it can go very poorly. Yeah, so this Rhine should not have should have shattered back as soon as he got within range. But you guys win it. But I think it easily could have gone the other way. Right? I think you should have bided your time a little more, been a little more patient. You have this like very high APM playstyle where you're like, oh, I have to do all the things as fast as possible. But I think, especially with long cooldown abilities, it's much more important to make sure that they are the right time. So for final fight, definitely think about saving nano for soldier. It's very easy to kite Rhine at the final point because it's so open and there's high ground. You know? How did Lucio die? What the heck? So I want to believe that you threw that nade mostly to farm auto charge. You got a kill with it, which is very lucky. There's no way that was intentional. So another purple where it's like, is this the right time to throw this purple? Maybe. Yeah, with Kitsune Rush, no, I think this is the right time to throw purple, right? And just forcing the Rhine to go back, I think it's worth. Yeah. I think that grenade I will defend and say that is good. Oh, you're a little slow to react here. Right, you fire that one dart into your Reaper or tank. You're down 2. Do not nano here. Ugh, bad sleep too. Right, if you're going to that sleep, walk forwards. You know, you see how you're already kind of moving backwards. It's like really hard to hit the sleep with such a small window. I would just leave. There's no way. No one is living in that situation. Rhine's for sure dead. So you got one final fight. You have nano to use. Your soldier has visor. Again, you really want to give soldier. Well, I mean, if it's close you could still nano Rhine because you're not gonna get the final point. Oh. All right, good. Think of it to nano soldier, which is great. But I think the problem here is you actually don't need it. Right? Rhine does a big shatter. You can tell that your Rhine's not taking damage, so it feels good. It's tough. I mean, it's final fight, so I understand popping here. But when your Rhine gets that kill right away, I would probably hold and wait. Even though soldier visored, I think I would hold and wait. Because we still have one more fight coming out of their spawn, and I might need that to win it. That's a bad sleep. Unless you memorize the spawn timings, that's a bad sleep. Imagine if you're nano right now. Oh no. Alright. So the other thing that goes wrong here is you're playing too far back. And I know that you're playing too far back because you're scared about both shatter and just generally scared of getting hit. But I think even playing like this doorway would have given you a lot more options here. But you see how you're continually backing further away? Because I know you're worried about the shatter, but the Mei wall, and recognizing that Mei has been in the game the entire third point, just totally messes you up, right? Now you can't do anything, which causes your Rhine to realize the wall is up. He gets shattered, starting to take a bunch of damage. Then he gets he gets charged away, which, you know, you could have slept him if you had sleep available and hadn't wasted it. Right, because Rhine knows that you're not going to help. Even right here, you could have just stayed out here, because it's a final fight, you know. Like, rotating at this point to go to the right when the wall's about to break in a second is irrelevant. You should have stayed to the left. You definitely could have changed the course of this fight just by staying to the left and staying exposed. Okay. So, overall, what are the takeaways? I did this across 2 different things. I'm trying to remember what the heck happened as a Mercy. I think the general thing I would say on Mercy is I think your Mercy gameplay was generally pretty clean, but neither your tank nor your DPS were getting a lot done, and you didn't really have any of the tools to change how the defense was going, right? I think that's like kind of the dominant theme on Mercy. It was like, you're fine, like you're staying alive, you're healing people when they need it, you're DPSing them generally. I mean, also we had that optimization at the beginning where you could damage boost your Rhine, right, while fighting the Rhine to get a lot more ult charge in. But you're just not doing a whole lot, and your team just kind of gets walked over. And that's going to happen sometimes, right? Like you can't always expect even with damage boost that your DPS or tanker is going to be able to make good use of it. Then you switch off Mercy to Kiriko. I think on Kiriko, similarly, I think that you played pretty clean overall, right? Obviously, there are some minor mistakes, but for the most part, you played pretty clean. A bunch of like unfortunate things happen where you're not able to really react to them. I think the rush ends up being questionable. Yeah, the rush ends to be questionable. I think that as a general rule, your ultimates are not getting a ton of value on any of your 3 heroes. And then finally on Ana, I think there's more clear mistakes here on Ana, where I think you're way too eager about using sleep and nade versus like making sure they actually will be able to get value. And then also for ultimates, I think that you're nanoing like a little too early often. And then also not trying to be greedy, like especially at the very end of the game, where like this is so critical, where you need to win 2 fights to win to get it to the end, right? If everyone pops everything in this fight, then you'll have nothing for the last fight, which is a very dangerous position to be in. And I get it, I totally understand, right? And that's why everybody else in your team is popping ultis as well. But you want to be better than them, you know? And that probably is like a little bit of greed here. Right? Ryan, you know the Rhine is shattered, you know the Rhine's killed Mei, right? You know Visor's up, just pause for a second and be like, hey, does it seem like he's killing anybody? And yeah, that might mean that you might lose the fight because the soldier like wasn't able to get a kill with Visor, but probably not, especially with the Mei dead, probably not. Right? Plus, you know the shatter went off. Okay. I would also say as a general rule, you are generally too risk averse. Right? And you have to recognize, like, when do I need to take risks? That's probably, like, a very meta thing that you can improve on is, hey, like, especially on defense, like, even numbers, don't take any risks, right? If defense low on numbers or offense in general, especially any situation where I have close spawn, I can take more risks, especially on offense. Okay. I hope this is helpful.